Hey everyone, welcome back to a new malicious compliance video. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Stop and Leave Now. I am the whole IT department in the city for the crunchy food company that makes and distributes fried potatoes in my country. We will be calling this company Mr. Tato. Now, like any other big company with distribution chains, Mr. Tato relies heavily on its communication infrastructure. This makes maintenance both important and hard to schedule. This night in particular, me and my contractor buddies were scheduled to do maintenance to the electrical outlets that go to the site rack, which of course will cause internet downtime. We arrive on site, all is normal. Enter the site, I turn off all networking equipment, procure some fried goodies and settle down while my people start doing their work. Then trouble comes when I am contacted by Mary, the boss guard lady. Now Mary is super nice. I have a good relationship with the security guards in the sites I work with, in part because they are usually great to drink with, in part because it always pays to get along with security. Mary tells me she was not aware that we were having a midnight rendezvous with the site. This is weird because this whole thing is set up weeks in advance. She tells us to carry on, but contacts her boss. I never met her boss, but as first impressions go, this was not gonna be a good one. The boss was mad. He is irate that we are working in his precious building without his knowledge and appealed that we would just march in and do the work we were scheduled to do without giving him a proper tribute. Apparently he was never included in any of the multiple work emails needed to coordinate the whole thing during the previous weeks. He demands that we stop what we are doing and immediately leave the premises. I try to explain myself, but he doesn't care and hangs up on me. I talk to Mary and explain to her what her boss actually did. And then I and my buddies comply, giggling with anticipation. Leaving immediately means we leave the electrical work half done, the site with no power, the whole building with no internet, and just go. I know how this is gonna go, they know how this is gonna go, the guards know how this is gonna go. I just park outside, buy myself an energy drink and call my supervisor first and the location manager second. Then I sit down with my buddies and the guards and enjoy the drama. See, with the site down, there is no internet and sales cannot be made, shipping cannot be sent, cargo cannot be loaded, orders cannot be put together. Every working hour without operation costs Mr. Tato himself a loss of tens of thousands of dollars. The site works 24/7 and labors were going to resume in about 3 hours. This is not obscure arcane knowledge, this is something every serious Mr. Tato employee knows. The guards are outsourced and still they know. Both because I have explained it to them in detail over drinks and because occasionally I need to come running at 3 in the morning when something fails and stops operations. Management rained hard on the security guy. For a full hour I heard him call the guards, blaming them for not explaining the situation correctly, all while maintaining that we can't work the site. Finally at 12:30 he folds, we go in, half an hour later we are out. The site is powered up. All services are working and people can come into work, ignorant to how close they came to doom. What will become of the security guy, I wonder? Hopefully he learned something. The next story is called Please Don't Do That Again. In the 90s my dad did CNC for a company that made items for government agencies. In the building he worked in, a lot of his co-workers would use the emergency exit for a fast route to the parking lot. It got so bad that management chained the door so it couldn't be opened. The room was the storage area and had a forklift for moving pallets around. Everyone was told to take the security drill seriously, because a few years earlier there was a cyanide spill and one employee ignored the alarm. Well, one day there was a fire drill. His co-workers went to that door and saw it was locked, so they went to the other emergency exit just down the hall. My dad was about to do the same, but went screw it and got into the forklift. Outside, the managers were doing a head count when they heard a loud bang. My dad used the forklift to open the door. His manager was yelling at him about how he is gonna get into a lot of trouble for doing that because it was a drill. My dad shrugged and replied, "You said to treat every drill like an actual emergency, didn't you? That was an emergency exit that was chained shut." The door was fixed, was never locked again, and my dad was asked by one of the higher-ups to not do that again. The third story is called Sexist Manager Gets Exposed. I used to work as a door supervisor, bouncer in the UK. One of the places I worked at had an absolute idiot as its manager. He hated working with women and didn't know how to run his business. Me and my colleague John would discuss frequently the difference in how the manager treated us. Apparently my uterus stopped me from doing my job properly. This went on for months, until one day John called in sick. The only person who was available to cover was Jill. Jill was lovely, with many years of experience behind her, and she was also the joint owner of the security company I worked for. At the start of our shift, Jill had arrived a little early, so I could show her around. The manager saw us and came over. Before I could introduce Jill, he started shouting, "I don't pay you to stand around talking like a bunch of old women. Get outside, where you are supposed to be." Jill, to my surprise, walked straight outside. I followed. She turned to me. "He doesn't know who I am, does he?" I confirmed that he didn't. "Good, don't tell him. Carry out your work as usual." Cue malicious compliance. I did everything I could in the bounds of my job to make this guy angry. My company checks the bathrooms every 20 minutes. He wanted every hour. I was in every 20 minutes on the dot. I performed spot searches, kicked drunk people out, everything that I was supposed to do, but he had forbidden. I thought he was going to burst a vein in his head. At the end of the shift, he was screaming at me. Literal flecks of spit were flying. Then Jill walked in, with her son, the co-owner of our company, and the two owners of the premises we were stood in. The manager's face went from purple to white in seconds. The son signed off my nightly paperwork and told me I had done a good job and said I could leave. The last thing I heard was the son giving Jill a proper introduction to the manager, who looked like he wanted to throw up. The fallout. The owners of the premises visited the place almost every week when we were working. Jill's son also would pop in from time to time. The manager kept working, but it was made clear to me that he was being transferred soon. Sadly, I left the area before he did, but that waste of space never even spoke a single word to me from that time on. The last story is called "The Best Letters I Ever Sent." I hated my old apartment. I needed to desperately get out. And right when I was looking for rentals, 2020 hit and everything shut down. With less than a week on my lease, I had to jump at the first available home, didn't even get to inspect it. I ended up with equally horrible property managers. I didn't have a key on day one and had to break in to move in. They didn't tell me about the roach infestation, but it's okay. I used to do pest control, so I managed. Things like that. Right when I lost power during Christmas, also okay, I live in the south. I didn't get too cold. I tracked down the original property owner. I asked her if I could get out of the contract and just pay her directly. We investigated many options, and the best way to get out of the contract was to just pay for the last remaining months and write a 30-day notice. They call me and tell me that I have to write him a notice, signed and sent and received on the exact date 30 days from the lease's end to be accepted, or I will lose my $1,000 security deposit. They really stressed it had to be mailed, and definitely on time, or they won't be able to accept it. Cue my pettiness. I wrote a template letter with a generic "This is a number of days till lease end day notice. I'm writing to terminate my contract and to receive my security deposit as stated." I sent one out on my 103-day notice, then another one on 89-day notice, then another one on 73-day notice, and so forth. Basically, whenever I remembered about it, I would change the date around, print it, sign it, and then mail it. They call me, saying this is very unnecessary and that they got my message loud and clear, but they sounded pretty rude about it, so I sent some more. I then received some passive-aggressive emails that they will honor the contract and leave me the $1,000 deposit as I have sent them a 30-day notice. But they can be tricky, and as I haven't technically sent them an exact 30 days notice, I have some more letters to send. Plus again, they sounded pretty rude over email. Cue the final 15-day countdown till my 30-day notice letter. I upped the ante. I now have one letter per day to send, and I have changed the fonts on each letter, ranging from Papyrus to Jokerman to Comic Sans. My favorite one is the one where it's all bright yellow and barely legible. It just hurts looking at. Oh, and better yet, I got the last batch sent as certified mail, so I get an email that they received it and that they had to sign it. On my 34th day notice letter, now probably the 20th letter I've mailed, I received my cashier's check back. No message or anything. Fortunately, I have 4 more letters to send, the best $43 on stamps I've ever paid. Thanks for watching the video, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already, it really helps in the algorithm. I hope you have a great day, stay safe, bye bye.